Hello everyone, my name is Nicole and I'm the parent support worker for the Niagara Catholic District School Board Early On Child and Family Centers. Today we are going to be highlighting the key points from our very last chapter, Chapter 10, called Growing Up Digital in Dr. Jane Clinton's book, Love Builds Brains. I'd like to begin this chapter by noting that Dr. Jean actually wrote this chapter during the COVID-19 pandemic and therefore recognizes the new role that technology takes on in both good and bad ways. And although she recognizes the importance of technology, especially during a pandemic, her chapter focuses on the negative aspects of technology from a developmental perspective to give parents information to help them make informed decisions regarding digital use. So that's what I will be offering you today. So let's talk about the effect digital use has on the developing brain. So when we monitor the use of digital screen technology, we are talking about TV, videos, YouTube, Netflix, videoing others, texting, chatting, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, smartphone, iPad, and general computer use. So it includes everything, all of the above. So Dr. Jean advises that the negative side effects of overuse and inactivity, such as not moving much as you stare at a screen, may include an increase in sedentary behavior, less physical activity, inadequate nutrition, poor hygiene, obesity, and deep vein thrombosis, which are blood clots in the leg. But the one major common issue she sees in excessive digital use is a disruption in sleep. So this is especially true when devices are used before bed. And if you are a midnight scroller, then you'll know this to be true. I know I do for myself. So you end up taking, longer to wind down and fall asleep. And that lack of sleep can relate to a depressed mood, a decline in self-esteem, and difficult coping during the day. Now you might be thinking, my kids are young, they don't spend all their time on a phone texting because they don't have one, or they don't spend all their time playing video games because they're still too young. But there's research to suggest that the use and ownership of a mobile device by children aged 0 to 8 years old spiked between the years 2011 and 2017. And within their report, as Dr. Jean referenced within her book, even children at a very tender age can be exposed to all of the effects that I just mentioned. To be more specific, according to this report made by the Common Sense Research Group, they showed that 42% of children aged 0 to 8 had their own tablet device in 2017. The data also indicated that in 2011, digital devices were used on average of 5 minutes a day, where in 2017, that increased to 48 minutes a day. And then your kids grow up, and you'll never believe where these numbers go. The same report showed that American teens, between the ages of 13 and 18 years old, averaged 9 hours per day of entertainment use. This excludes the time spent at school or during homework. Let that sink in for a moment. 9 hours. That's roughly the same amount of time that some adults work each day. One research study even showed a significant association between handheld screen time and expressive speech delay in children aged 6 to 24 months of age. Another study in Calgary found a correlation, an association between higher amounts of screen time and developmental challenges, wherein the more amount of screen time, the more likelihood of having a developmental challenge. So we can see it's all within the research. So here's the warning that Dr. Jean shares. Pediatricians in the US and Canada now recommend that children 2 years of age and younger should not use screens at all due to the importance of that serve and return interaction. And if that information isn't surprising enough, we now live in a time where a comedian, none other than Seth Rogen, has actually taken a public platform to encourage families to put down their mobile devices during dinner time. The decline of device-free family dinners, or even family dinner at all, can have a profound effect on child development. So when the child's brain is under construction, they need that face-to-face interaction. It's been a cornerstone of this book. What saddens me as a reader of this chapter is that Dr. Jean references studies that shows that kids don't really generalize their knowledge from what they learn on screen to what they learn face to face. And that face to face learning cannot be replaced with screen time. When she says this, she refers to those, educational apps many parents justify screen time for. But within the current climate of Ontario, I really feel defeated for our kids, spending so much of their time learning on a computer instead of face to face. But this only emphasizes the importance of finding time to connect with our kids. So be sure to focus on their social emotional learning at home. And for those kids younger than school age, try to spend quality time with them without the use of screens. The American Academy of Pediatricians makes some recommendations for parents that Dr. Jean shares, and I'd like to now share that with you as well. So the first is that children aged 18 months to 2 years can be introduced to high quality children's media. So these are things like PBS or Sesame Street, if and only if they are accompanied by a parent to help them understand what they are seeing. What this means is that we're not going to just plop our kids in front of the TV while we cook dinner. We're wanting to have that TV use if we are incorporating that as a learning opportunity. The second piece of advice is to limit 2 to 5-year-olds to 1 hour per day of high quality programming designed especially for children, but again accompanied by an adult. We have virtual playdates within our center, and that is a great example of this. Half-hour sessions that involve both the child and the parent, where the child can see other young faces, interact, and learn. The third is to reduce the impact of screen time by being present and engaged when screens are used, and whenever possible, co-view with children. By being aware of content and prioritize educational, age-appropriate, and interactive programming. Number 3, to using parenting strategies that teach self-regulation, calming, and limit setting. D, or 4, being mindful about your own use of screen time and model appropriate use. The next form of advice offered is to choose media content for children following what's called the E-AIMS. So that's E-AIMS, E-AIMS. So E, is my child engaged? Is there a learning goal or story as part of the screen experience? A, is my child actively involved? Does she or he look like they are really thinking about and participating in the content? M, is the content meaningful? Does the content reflect my child's everyday life? And then S, is the content social? Does this experience encourage my child to talk or respond within the game? Does this experience encourage my child to interact with me as we play together? Finally, we shouldn't only focus on the direct effect technology has on our kids. Your use of technology will also have a profound effect on your kids. So if your kids are acting out, how will you ever find this stressor if your head is buried in your phone for the moments leading up to that meltdown? How will your kids feel connected to you if they have to fight for your attention? I'm going to wrap up with noting that this chapter isn't meant to bash the parents whose kids have excessive screen time. We are living in a very strange time that makes technology necessary in feeling some sort of connection to those we love. And unfortunately, technology is really our only form of education for our kids right now. This chapter isn't meant to make you feel remorseful or worried or defeated. It's to remind you that at the end of the day, what your child needs most is your love. Your love builds their brain. Whether they spend more time on screens right now or not, just be sure to love them. look them in the face, and ensure that serve and return interaction. And try to find balance. We all need sleep, exercise, play, and technology. That's it for today, and that's it for our chapters. This is your last week to participate in the Love Builds Brains book club, so be sure to comment below. Next week we have one last summary video to share the key takeaway messages from Dr. Jean Clinton's book, Love Builds Brains. Bye for now.